He always exchanged words with everybody because it didn't matter what anybody was doing in and around the estate here and everywhere else. They all meant a lot to him, and he always took a very personal interest in everything that they were doing.
Sophie has finally broken her silence on Meghan, and people inside royal circles are calling it one of the coldest royal shakeups in years. For a long time, the Duchess of Edinburgh stayed calm, polite, and completely loyal to the monarchy. She smiled through awkward public moments, avoided drama, and kept royal tension hidden behind palace doors. But now, that quiet image is cracking wide open. A major Channel 5 documentary, explosive royal books, and shocking insider claims have started exposing what was really happening behind the scenes for years. And according to reports, Sophie's frustration over Meghan Markle did not disappear quietly. In fact, many believe this has been building for a very long time. The biggest shock? Sophie allegedly reached out to Meghan with genuine support, only to be completely shut out afterward. That moment still reportedly stings to this day. The documentary, Royal Peacemaker. Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, which aired on Channel 5 in May 2026, dives deep into Sophie's journey inside the monarchy and the powerful role she quietly played behind the scenes. But what really grabbed attention was the claim that Sophie offered Meghan the exact same support she once gave to Kate Middleton, and Meghan allegedly wanted no part of it. Royal commentator Emily Andrews explained that Sophie naturally stepped into a mentor role whenever younger women married into the royal family. According to Andrews, Sophie happily offered guidance to both Kate and Meghan because she understood better than almost anyone how brutal royal life could become. And Sophie truly did know the pressure. After marrying Prince Edward back in 1999, she dealt with embarrassing media mistakes, public criticism, and harsh headlines. One major tabloid sting nearly damaged her reputation early on. But instead of falling apart, Sophie rebuilt her image piece by piece and eventually became one of the most trusted people in the monarchy. That is why her offer mattered so much. She was not some random royal trying to give advice. Sophie had already survived the chaos herself. She knew how dangerous palace politics could get, and she reportedly wanted to help Meghan avoid the same mistakes. According to an insider speaking to other channels talking about the royal family, Sophie and Meghan allegedly spent hours together during early conversations. Meghan reportedly had endless questions about royal life, and Sophie openly shared advice about handling difficult personalities, public pressure, and palace expectations. The insider claimed Sophie genuinely liked Meghan at first. She reportedly found her intelligent, confident, and easy to talk to. Sophie allegedly even told Meghan she could contact her anytime if she needed support dealing with some of the more complicated royal dynamics. But then, something unexpected happened. According to insiders, after those long conversations, Meghan suddenly stopped reaching out completely. No follow-up calls, no texts, no invitations, nothing. People close to Sophie were reportedly stunned by how quickly communication disappeared. One insider even claimed Sophie was surprised she never received an invitation back to Frogmore Cottage after spending so much time helping Meghan settle into royal life. Inside royal circles, that silence allegedly spoke volumes. The documentary heavily pushes one very uncomfortable contrast. Kate Middleton accepted Sophie's guidance and slowly became deeply connected with senior royals. Meghan, meanwhile, reportedly kept her distance, and many believe that decision shaped everything that happened afterward. And honestly, the documentary does not even try to hide that comparison. Royal Peacemaker. Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, spends a large portion of its runtime showing how Sophie quietly helped guide Kate through some of the hardest parts of royal life. It paints Sophie as the dependable insider who younger royals could safely turn to when things became overwhelming. Royal correspondent Victoria Murphy described Sophie as a natural mentor for Kate, and pointed to the strong trust that developed between them over the years. That relationship reportedly became incredibly important behind palace walls. People often saw Sophie and Kate standing together during tense royal appearances, walking side by side at major events, and supporting each other during difficult public moments. According to royal insiders, Sophie became one of the few people Kate could truly rely on while adjusting to royal life. And unlike others inside the institution, Sophie never appeared interested in competing for attention. She reportedly focused on helping Kate survive the pressure instead of controlling her. That quiet alliance eventually turned into one of the strongest relationships in the monarchy. Kate reportedly listened carefully, learned how the system worked, and slowly earned respect from senior royals through patience and discipline. Many royal commentators now describe her as one of the monarchy's most dependable modern figures, and some insiders believe Sophie played a huge role in that transformation. Some royal watchers even call it the Sophie effect. But then the documentary turns back toward Meghan, and the mood noticeably changes. Emily Andrews explained that Sophie met Meghan several times and openly offered support. According to Andrews, Sophie allegedly told Meghan, "Anything I can do, anything I can help with, let me know." That sounds simple on the surface, but inside the royal family, that kind of offer carries serious meaning. Royal relationships are built heavily on trust, loyalty, and private support systems. Access matters, respect matters. And when someone as respected as Sophie reaches out personally, people inside the palace reportedly expect that gesture to be taken seriously. Instead, according to the documentary and multiple insiders, Sophie was left completely on the outside. And for Sophie, many believe that felt deeply personal. The situation became even more awkward because Sophie was not just another royal family member. She reportedly had one of the closest relationships with Queen Elizabeth herself. Former press secretary Elsa Anderson described Sophie as someone the late Queen considered a safe pair of hands. According to Anderson, Sophie could always be trusted to stay calm, loyal, and dependable, no matter how intense things became. That level of trust is extremely rare inside royal circles. Sophie reportedly became one of the Queen's true confidants over the years, someone who could quietly handle problems without creating headlines. Even King Charles is said to value Sophie as one of the monarchy's strongest secret weapons because of her ability to manage pressure without drama. So when Meghan allegedly ignored Sophie's outreach, many inside royal circles did not view it as some tiny social misunderstanding. According to royal commentators, it was seen as rejecting help from one of the monarchy's most respected insiders. And that rejection reportedly left a lasting impression. The documentary does not directly attack Meghan, but viewers immediately noticed how sharply the comparisons were presented. On one side, Sophie and Kate slowly build trust, loyalty, and stability together. On the other side, Sophie offers support to Meghan only for communication to reportedly vanish afterward. That contrast has sparked massive reactions online. Some royal fans believe Meghan wanted independence and did not want to rely on palace insiders. Others believe she may have underestimated how important those relationships were inside the monarchy. And many critics now argue that ignoring Sophie's guidance may have been one of the biggest mistakes of Meghan's royal experience. What makes the situation even more dramatic is how long Sophie stayed silent publicly. For years, she avoided taking sides and rarely became involved in royal controversy. That is exactly why this documentary has hit so hard. People are not used to seeing Sophie connected to public tension or palace conflict. She built her reputation by staying above the chaos. So the fact that her experience with Meghan is now being discussed so openly has shocked royal watchers everywhere. And according to insiders, this may only be the beginning of more uncomfortable royal truths coming out. The documentary never directly says Sophie turned against Meghan. It does something far more brutal instead. It quietly places the relationship side by side and lets viewers connect the dots themselves. And once people noticed the contrast, the internet exploded with reactions. Now we get to one of the most talked about moments in this entire royal drama. The moment Sophie and Prince Edward delivered 8 tiny words that many royal watchers still believe revealed the palace's real feelings about Meghan and Harry. Back in March 2021, Harry and Meghan's interview with Oprah Winfrey landed like a shockwave across the world. The couple made explosive claims about life inside the monarchy, including allegations of racism, emotional isolation, lack of support, and serious struggles with mental health. The interview completely dominated headlines for weeks. People were glued to their screens as the royal family faced one of the biggest public crises in modern history. Every royal appearance afterward felt tense, awkward, and heavily analyzed. Then Sophie and Prince Edward stepped into the spotlight themselves. During an interview shortly after the Oprah special aired, reporters asked them about Harry and Meghan's bombshell conversation. That is when Prince Edward casually responded with, "Oprah, who?" And Sophie immediately laughed before adding, "What interview?" Just 8 words. But those 8 words created a massive storm because many people felt the message behind them was crystal clear. Royal watchers instantly interpreted the exchange as the palace brushing off the Sussexes' claims without even acknowledging them directly. The reaction online was wild. To critics of Meghan and Harry, the moment looked sharp, sarcastic, and almost clever. But to supporters of the Sussexes, it felt dismissive and cold, especially considering how serious the allegations had been. And according to royal commentators, Sophie absolutely understood how those comments would land publicly. This was not some nervous mistake made by an inexperienced royal. Sophie had already spent decades mastering media appearances and public diplomacy. She knew cameras were rolling. She knew every word would be replayed worldwide, yet she still leaned into the joke anyway. That alone told many people exactly where she stood by 2021. The moment became even bigger after Omid Scobie later brought it up in his controversial royal book Endgame. Scobie pointed directly at the Oprah-Who exchange as an example of what he believed was the royal family's dismissive attitude toward Meghan. In the book, Scobie argued that the comments made Sophie and Edward appear stuffy or tin-eared at best and casually bigoted at worst. That accusation immediately caused backlash. No matter what people think about Scobie or his closeness to Harry and Meghan, his comments reopened public debate about that interview moment all over again. Suddenly, people were re-watching the clip, breaking down facial expressions, tone, and body language like it was some kind of royal crime scene. Scobie also argued that the joke was not accidental at all. According to him, the comment was carefully aimed at palace loyalists, British tabloids, and royal supporters who wanted reassurance that senior royals were refusing to take Harry and Meghan's accusations seriously. And honestly, many royal experts agreed the moment felt extremely calculated. Sophie had built her entire image around discipline, diplomacy, and caution. She was not known for random, careless remarks. That is exactly why the clip shocked so many people. It felt deliberate, controlled, almost icy. By that point, tensions between the Sussexes and the monarchy had already exploded publicly. Meghan and Harry had stepped away from royal duties, moved to California, launched media projects, and started openly discussing palace conflicts in interviews and documentaries. According to royal insiders, Sophie's patience with the situation had already run out long before the Oprah interview aired. Many believe the alleged ghosting years earlier, the growing divide after Megxit, and the non-stop royal headlines had completely changed how Sophie viewed Meghan behind closed doors. Then Endgame poured gasoline all over the fire. According to reports from insiders speaking to other channels discussing the royal family, Sophie was reportedly furious after the book's release. Not slightly annoyed, not irritated, furious. And from her perspective, people close to the palace allegedly understood exactly why. Sophie had spent years rebuilding her reputation after earlier media scandals in the 2000s nearly damaged her standing. Over time, she transformed herself into one of the monarchy's most respected and dependable working royals. By the time she became Duchess of Edinburgh, she was widely viewed as one of King Charles's most trusted allies and one of the safest pairs of hands inside the institution. Then suddenly, Scobie's book connected her name to allegations of cold behavior and insensitive attitudes toward Meghan. One of the biggest claims in Endgame involved Queen Elizabeth II's funeral in September 2022. Scobie alleged that Sophie noticeably ignored Meghan outside Westminster Abbey and implied that other senior royals followed the same cold approach. That accusation instantly grabbed attention because the late Queen's funeral was watched by millions around the world. Every second of footage was studied frame by royal fans, critics, and media outlets everywhere. So when Scobie suggested Sophie intentionally cold-shouldered Meghan during such an emotional national moment, it became one of the book's most explosive talking points. Sophie's team strongly pushed back against those claims. According to reports, they insisted the Oprah-Who exchange had simply been intended as light humor and not some deep attack. But here is what really stood out. Sophie never launched some emotional public defense campaign afterward. She did not sit down for a dramatic interview. She did not release long personal statements. She did not try to publicly battle Meghan supporters online. Instead, she quietly kept working, and according to insiders, that was completely intentional. While the headlines exploded around Harry, Meghan, Netflix deals, interviews, books, and royal accusations, Sophie reportedly focused on increasing her royal duties, attending more public engagements, and strengthening her role inside the monarchy. That silent strategy reportedly became part of her response. Every appearance Sophie made reportedly sent the same quiet message: stability over chaos, duty over celebrity, work over public battles. Royal insiders claim Sophie believed actions would ultimately speak louder than endless media wars ever could. And for many palace loyalists, that approach only strengthened her reputation even further. Then came another major royal moment that many people viewed as quietly symbolic: Sophie and Edward officially becoming the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. To casual observers, it may have looked like a normal title update. But inside royal circles, many believed the promotion carried a much deeper message about loyalty, trust, and who still held strong standing within the monarchy after all the drama surrounding Harry and Meghan. The situation became even more dramatic once people realized something huge about the Edinburgh title. For years, many royal watchers believed that title was originally expected to eventually go to Prince Harry and Meghan. But after stepping away from royal duties, everything changed completely. Instead of Harry and Meghan becoming the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, the title officially went to Sophie and Prince Edward. And inside royal circles, that move was viewed as far more than just ceremonial. The Edinburgh title carries massive history inside the monarchy. It was closely tied to Prince Philip for decades and remains one of the most respected royal titles in the entire institution. So when Sophie and Edward received it, many people saw it as a very public reward for loyalty, patience, and staying committed during some of the monarchy's most chaotic years. And according to reports, Sophie allegedly felt relieved after the title change for one very specific reason. One royal friend reportedly claimed Sophie was glad she would no longer have to curtsy to Meghan Markle. According to the source, Sophie found the situation uncomfortable after Meghan and Harry publicly criticized the monarchy while also stepping away from royal duties. That word, relieved, instantly caught attention online because it suggested the tension had become much deeper behind palace walls than many people originally realized. Whether people agree with Sophie or not, royal watchers immediately understood the symbolism. The new title reportedly removed any remaining awkward royal hierarchy between them permanently. And Sophie did not exactly hide how meaningful the promotion was to her either. When she officially became Duchess of Edinburgh in 2023 during Prince Edward's birthday celebrations, Sophie openly spoke about how emotional the moment felt because of its connection to the late Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. For Sophie, this was not just another royal label. It represented trust, recognition, and years of quiet work finally being acknowledged. Then came another moment that many people interpreted as a subtle dig toward Harry and Meghan. At one point, Sophie was asked about senior royals taking on more responsibilities after Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal life. Instead of giving some emotional speech, she responded with a sharp question of her own. What did people think we were doing beforehand? That single comment hit hard. The remark carried a quiet but unmistakable message. Sophie and Edward had reportedly been working steadily for the monarchy long before the Sussex drama exploded into public view. They were never flashy royals chasing headlines. They simply kept showing up, handling duties, and staying loyal while attention focused elsewhere. And honestly, that response perfectly sums up Sophie's entire image inside the royal family. While media headlines constantly focused on scandals, interviews, memoirs, and public feuds, Sophie quietly built a reputation as one of the monarchy's most dependable figures. According to royal insiders, that consistency became incredibly valuable once public trust in the institution started getting tested repeatedly. The documentary does not scream accusations or launch direct attacks. Instead, it carefully pieces together years of royal history in a way that leaves viewers drawing their own conclusions. And that may actually be what makes it so powerful. The film focuses heavily on Sophie's rise from nervous newcomer to one of the monarchy's most trusted senior royals. It highlights how she supported Kate Middleton during difficult early years and gradually became someone the royal family could rely on during moments of instability. Even the title itself, Royal Peacemaker, feels loaded with meaning. At a time when the monarchy has faced non-stop public drama involving interviews, allegations, books, and lawsuits, Sophie is being presented as the steady figure who helped keep things together behind the scenes. And many viewers immediately noticed the contrast being drawn. The documentary openly points out that Sophie offered support to Meghan early on, but Meghan ultimately chose a very different path. Instead of fully embracing palace life, Meghan and Harry eventually stepped away from royal duties and built a new life in California involving media projects, public interviews, and business ventures. Meanwhile, Sophie stayed. That difference becomes the emotional backbone of the entire documentary. According to royal commentators, the program subtly frames Sophie as proof that stability, patience, and loyalty still matter deeply inside the monarchy. And by comparison, Meghan's departure is presented as part of the royal institution's wider period of disruption and crisis. The same theme reportedly appears again in Sean Smith's 2025 biography, Sophie, Saving the Royal Family, which argues that Sophie became increasingly important precisely because several younger royals stepped away from public duties. Then came another moment that many royal fans viewed as symbolic. Shortly after Meghan Markle appeared publicly in Geneva, Sophie attended the World Health Assembly in her role as global ambassador for the International Agency for the Prevention of Blindness. There, Sophie addressed world leaders, diplomats, and health officials about preventable blindness and urgent global healthcare issues. And once again, people online immediately started comparing the two women. Supporters of Meghan argued she was building her own independent global identity outside palace control. Meanwhile, royal loyalists praised Sophie for continuing to represent the monarchy quietly on the international stage without constant media drama surrounding her. Two very different paths, two very different public images. What makes Sophie's approach so fascinating is that she rarely fights publicly. She does not usually attack people directly or chase attention through emotional interviews. Instead, she communicates through carefully chosen comments, royal appearances, documentaries, and steady public work. And according to many royal insiders, that silence is exactly what makes her influence so powerful. For years, Sophie was underestimated because she avoided flashy headlines. She was never the royal grabbing front-page drama every week. But now, she holds the Edinburgh title, has King Charles's trust, maintains a close bond with Kate, represents global causes, and is being celebrated in documentaries as one of the key figures who helped hold the monarchy together during one of its most unstable periods. And if this documentary really is Sophie's way of finally letting the world see how she feels, then the message coming from palace circles suddenly sounds a whole lot louder than anyone expected. Royal drama never stays buried for long, and this Sophie versus Meghan tension may still have more secrets waiting behind palace doors. Stay tuned because this royal story is far from over.